Hello, my name is Charles, and in today's video, in the How to Code series, we're on How to Code 4, we are going to do some loops. So a lot of people may be wondering in this series, like, what is a loop in coding, and what do we use it for? So a loop is basically a way to iterate or go through a list or data set of information and check something, do something with it. So let's say, for example, you had a shopping list of, or let's say you had a library of books. You had a whole list of all the books, and you had 500 books, and you wanted to figure out, which ones start with which letter. The loop in coding would go through it one by one, but it would do so rapidly and so quickly, that humans, wouldn't be able to organize it that quickly. But we have the ability to code and create the machines that can do it. So for the first kind of loop we're going to teach, this will be the for loop. And when would you want to use a for loop is when you know how many iterations you want to go. So let's say you have like a shopping list, and you're like, in this shopping list, there are 10 items, 10 items in the list, and I want to figure out if they're on sale, or if I, buy them, not buy them. If you want to figure out, right, if you know how many things you're going to go through. So let me give an example. This will be our first goal. So our goal is to figure out how many odds and how many even numbers in 1 through, let's say, 13. In numbers, or we'll do in 0 through 13, how many odds and how many evens. So what we're going to do for this is the syntax, by the way, for a for loop. We're going to do for integer I equals 0. If I is less than 13, I plus plus. Now we're going to have to figure out how many odds and evens. So what we're going to do is, because it's going to be a whole number for each one, we want to have a counter. We're going to do odd. We're going to do odd counter equals 0, and integer even counter equals 0. Now, if you're wondering, hey, Charles, why does this go gray? Generally, in most IDEs, it'll change the color if it is not currently being used. Don't worry, doesn't mean anything is going wrong. It just means it's not being used yet. And the program or the IDE is like, well, why do you have it if it's not being used? And so what we're going to do is we're going to use that if statement we learned before, and we're going to say if I %2 equals 0. And then we are going to say odd counter plus plus. And then else, right? Because if it's not, I should put even counter here. And if it is not even, it is going to be odd. Now you might be confused. You might be like, what is going on? How do I use these if statements? That is in the previous video. But if you're at this moment and you're like, okay, well, why do you use the %2 equals 0? So first, with I %2. Percent in Java is what's called modulus. And what it means is whatever number I is divided by 2, and what is the remainder of that. And the reason there are 2 equals instead of 1 is because 2 equal signs in Java is checking if this thing is equivalent to that, and 1 equal sign is saying this is that. So this is a monster can versus this is equivalent to a another monster can, or, you know, so on and so forth, right? One monster can is the same as another, versus this is, you know, assignment versus equality or equivalency. All right. And so, right, this is the first time we've seen the for loop. Why? You know, what is this for loop? So this is saying for, you know, the integer I, which we're setting equal to 0, as long as it is less than 13, check these two things, right? If the number at I is even or odd, and then add 1 to it. So this increments it. This means it goes up 1 each time. And then what we're going to do is at the end of this, we're going to say system.out.println. There are we're going to do odd numbers. So this is going to print out the number of odd numbers, and then the next line is going to print out the number of even numbers. And if you guys have your predictions on, you know, how many odds and evens there are going to be, you can see if this program is, you know, working as intended or working correctly. So let's go over our program in full before we test it. We have an odd counter and an even counter. First, they start at 0. We have a for loop that is going to iterate 13 times, right? Because it starts at 0. If 0 is less than 13, check it. Now add 1. And as long as it is less than 13, then it's going to increment. And then it's going to go from 0 and, you know, all the way to 12. And when it hits 13, 13 is not less than 13. So, you know, stop the program. And based on that, it'll, you know, add the evens. Every time there's an even, it'll add that to the counter. Every time there's an odd, it'll add that to the counter. And then this prints out, you know, how many odds and how many evens. So if we run it, let's run it. I might have to comment out some code from before. Give me just a minute. All right. Now if we run it, let's try running that again. Oh, it's saying Java 53, which just means there's an extra thing here. Boom, we get rid of that. Oh, so now we see what is going on here, huh? It printed out a bunch of times, and we're like, huh, well, we only put 2 print statements. The reason it's doing that is because this is the scope. These little things right here determine what is going in the for loop. So it's iterating that many times. If we copy paste this and take it out of the for loop, then watch what we see. We run it, and voila. There are 6 odd numbers and there are 7 even numbers. So from 0 to 13, that's what you get. So that is wonderful. That is the first, you know, so this is how for loops work. If you're curious, these allow you, basically, if you know how many iterations you want to go in a list, in a data set, in any grouping of information, for loops can get that done for you. So now let's get rid of all this. Bada bing, bada boom. And now we want to do while loops. Here we go. This is the next kind of loop. So, have some stuff set up preemptively. All this is, you know, import java.util.scanner is, you know, how you read in info. So the scanner allows you to read in input from the user. They can type things in the console and interact with the program. This, you know, creates an object which allows you to do that, and I'll explain more of that later. This is going to sound confusing. Just don't worry about it. If you want to look at the code, type it in for you, and I'll explain it in later videos. What we're going to do is we're going to say to the user, our goal right now is, well, that's not going to be our goal. What we're going to do is we're going to showcase while loops. And how we are going to do this is, the good thing about while loops is, whereas a for loop, you want to know how many iterations there are, like we did in the previous example, 0 through 13. In for loops, they will just keep going until a condition is met. So loop 2 is while loops, right? They iterate through a list or a data set until a condition is met. Basically, while X is true, do Y, else stop. So let's say you are, let's say someone hypothetically is a reckless spender. They recklessly spend money and there is no stopping them from spending money. It would be, for them, it would be while money is in bank account, spend money, else, right? If there's no money, then stop the program or stop buying things because you can't do it. So that's why while loops are good, because they will keep running until a condition is met, so they don't have to have a definite number of things in the loop. They work in all situations. So for this one, we're going to do, we're going to integrate the scanner or instantiate the scanner. We're going to ask them to enter true or false. And this is going to say, you know, while in dot has next line. And what this does is basically saying, okay, while they have type, as long as they have typed something in, or in dot next line dot equals stop. Actually, I just realized something. So basically what this says is, as you know, while they have typed in a response to this question, we are going to do something. So what we're going to do is we're going to say system.out.println are you. This is gonna be a little weird, but we're gonna say, are you happy? But first we're gonna do an if statement. We're gonna say if break. Oh, there we go. Okay, so this is going to be a bit of a weird program, but I'm going to show you through this program how it continues. It can do it through any number of inputs, right? So what this program is basically saying is, while the user has inputted something, so as long as the user has inputted something, and if that thing equals stop, then break the loop, because if you don't, it'll just keep going forever because it works infinitely. And then it's going to be system.out.println, are you happy? And then it's going to ask why. So watch this. If I run it, oh, we got a little error here. No big deal. That's just because we don't have another curly brace. You got to get those things taken care of. So if I run it, so now it's asking, please enter true or false. Okay, so if I enter true, are you happy? Why? Yes, because God is good. And now it's going to ask, are you happy? Why? Yes, because God is good. And it's just going to keep doing this infinitely. It's never going to stop. This is pretty much the infinite happiness robot that just spams you and asks you, are you happy? And the only way you can get it to stop, right? No matter what I enter in this, it's just going to keep going, keep going. And the way this is, the power of while loops. The only way I can get it to stop is if I type in stop. So now that I typed in stop, the program, you see here, it's not running anymore. And if I want to get it to run again, I have to press run. And the reason that is because with a while loop, you put a break statement. So you say, while this is going on, just do this over and over. But if, the next line that they put in equals stop, then break this whole loop, which means exit out of the loop. And so the main advantage that makes while loops universally useful is they are applicable no matter the size of the list, and you don't have to know it beforehand. And they require a break statement, a condition to end the loop. So these are the two main types of loops: for loops, right, as we learned, and while loops. We're going to learn about other loops in later videos, but I know this is a lot already. So now you have some basic building blocks to iterate through data, to iterate through big lists, whether that's shopping lists or user input. And I will show more and more how to use this code to make cool projects, to make things you guys enjoyed. And I hope you guys loved watching. And it was helpful. Much love. This has been Charles, and God bless.